Now on Radio 4, here's Front Row with John Wilson.
Don't touch that dial. We're about to announce the contenders for this year's Women's Prize for Fiction. I'll also be joined by Gareth Evans, the director of a new ultra-violent television crime series called Gangs of London. And the new presenter of the BBC Young Musician of the Year competition, conductor and organist Anna Lapwood, will be pulling out all the stops. Anna Lapwood, playing the Toccata in F major by Bach, will be hearing why she wants to encourage more women to play the organ, and she'll be playing us some more Bach live from her living room. The sound of the pipe organ of Queen's College, Cambridge, being put through its paces by Anna Lapwood, who in 2016 became the youngest ever director of music at an Oxbridge college. When she was just 21, she took up the position at Pembroke College. Of course, Anna is not able to get her hands on that instrument at the moment, so to get her through lockdown, she's just installed a new electric organ in her living room, much to the delight of her neighbours, no doubt. Anna has organised a virtual Bach-a-thon, getting musicians to post videos of themselves playing a piece by Bach to raise money to help freelance musicians during the pandemic. And she's also conducting the new NHS Chorus-19, a virtual choir of over 900 doctors, nurses and other NHS staff from all around the UK. On top of that, she's also the new presenter of the BBC Young Musician of the Year, which starts next week. Anna, I can't believe you got time to even talk to us on Front Row. You sound incredibly busy. First of all, tell us about the NHS choir.
Have you had your first rehearsals? We had it last week, so we rehearsed for the first time on Friday and had over 700 people joining in on a Facebook Live. And you know what? I was absolutely terrified because it's not like a normal choir practice where you can kind of bounce off people. You've just got to sit there making a fool of yourself and hope that people are joining in and enjoying it.
How many people did you say?
Over 700.
All together?
All together, yeah.
So how are they joining you? Well, not on Zoom or FaceTime or whatever?
No, so annoyingly there's no technology yet that can actually facilitate a proper rehearsal. So they have to essentially join in with a live video of me taking a normal rehearsal, and then they just sing along, basically.
They sing along. And you can hear them all at the same time?
No, that's the thing. So I just have to guess what's probably going wrong and try and correct it.
How can you guess if they're singing wrong?
Well, you get to know what sort of problems crop up. So We were doing Over the Rainbow, and it's things like breathing control and watching the tuning on the top note and stuff like that. OK. And then you got your Bach-a-thon, getting musicians to post videos of themselves playing a piece by Bach. And that's going, you're raising money, and that's going to musicians who are really feeling the pinch at the moment, many of them, aren't they? I think it's a really tough time. I think all of my colleagues and myself, we've all lost our work essentially until September, October, and almost the most terrifying thing is the dates just keep pushing further and further back, and our diaries are just clearing sort of more every day. And obviously I'm okay because of my job at Pembroke. At least I have a bit of a salary coming in still, but for some people that is their entire income that's just gone and they have no idea when they're getting it back. So I just wanted to do something to try and raise a bit of money for those people.
And people playing Bach on all sorts of instruments.
Yes, and what's lovely is actually a couple of professional people have done it on not their instrument. So a pianist friend of mine, Joseph Middleton, he recorded himself playing the violin, which he hasn't done since he was about 18, I think.
We should have set you that challenge, but instead you're going to play us in a moment on your new organ. You bought this electric organ for your flat because of the lockdown. We talked on Zoom earlier today, so I could see what you were doing. We just did a sound check. We're going to post that on Twitter as well. It's not a normal domestic keyboard. It is a pretty huge instrument you've got there, isn't it?
It is, and I have to say, the poor people who delivered it to me, I got it just before lockdown, and they turned up, and I live in a loft flat at the top of 2 flights of stairs, very, very narrow stairs, and it's over 100 kilos, and they just looked at these stairs and said, nope, there's no way it's going up there. So I had to sort of grab a couple of people off the street to help.
OK, let's hear it. You're going to play some Bach now. Just a quick word about what we're about to hear.
Yes, so this is a little chorale prelude from the Orgelbüchlein, Wenn wir in höchsten Nöten sein, which translates as when we are in our hour of most need.
Wonderful. Bach Prelude, when we are in our hour of greatest need. I was going to ask you why that piece, but that's self-evident, I think, Anna, isn't it? When we spoke earlier, you were telling me how loud it was. The windows were rattling. They were reverberating to that low G that you were playing on the pedals. What do your neighbours think of your organ?
You know what? I had to message them and say, I'm really sorry. There's going to be some quite loud organ music between 7:15 and 7:45. And I also had to ask them that if they had a burning desire for a Les Mis sing-along, which they do sometimes, to not do it in this time, otherwise they might accidentally broadcast themselves.
Oh, come on, that would have been great. A Bach Les Mis mashup live on Front Row tonight.
I would have joined in.
You probably would have done. We all would have done, wouldn't we? One of the other things I know you've been doing on Twitter, you've been encouraging other women and girls to learn the organ. Is there something about the organ that's traditionally prevented girls taking up the instrument?
Yeah, I think historically it's been linked with the English choir tradition, and historically that has been something which has been for boy choristers. Obviously in the last sort of 30 years or so we've seen more girl choirs being set up, and so there is a slow sort of sea change that's happening in that side of things. But if you think about it, we're living in quite a secular society now, so most young children aren't really going into churches. They've got no reason to see an organ and get to know that they could play it unless they're singing in a choir. So it's just about trying to show those young girls and teenage girls that it is an option for them, give them someone who, I guess, a sort of role model who they can see doing it, so that they think, hang on a minute, maybe I could be an organist.
What is it that puts them off?
I think it's the fact that there aren't that many visible women doing it. I mean, there are some fantastic, obviously there are loads of fantastic female organists. I mean, Gillian Weir, Jennifer Bate, but there aren't that many young female organists.
It is role models, yeah. Very quick word. I was just also going to mention BBC Young Musician of the Year. You filmed some of the episodes before lockdown, but the final will be later in the year. You're going to be presenting that as well, I think, won't you?
Yes, yeah, that's
Look
right.
forward to that. Anna Lapwood, thanks very much indeed. Some information about how you can join Anna's NHS Chorus-19 or to take part in Anna's Bach-a-thon online, head to the Front Row website. There's some details there. The BBC Young Musician of the Year competition starts, in fact, on BBC 4 on Sunday, 3rd of May.